Back. This is Hope at Dawn, right here at Hope TV, where you look and you live. We told you we are coming back with the day's conversation on financial fitness. And today we are preparing me. Actually, I've been told I'm closer to retirement than anyone else right here. It's all right. It's okay. So it's time for our conversation, and we are talking about planning for retirement. And so be part of the show across all our social media platforms. You can interact with us. Also, you can get us on WhatsApp 0708-222-323. And also you can tell us, how are you preparing for retirement? How have you been preparing for retirement? Or are you too young to even start thinking about retirement? And so get on those platforms, and of course we shall be highlighting some of the comments as we are receiving them. But right about now, allow us to welcome our guest in studio, already in studio set, to share his knowledge with us concerning today's conversation. Joshua Okeo, he is the CEO of Pivot Assets, and thank you so very much, Joshua, for finding time to come and share your wisdom with us on a very important topic. Karibu sana.
Thank you for having me. I'm so honored. I'm so privileged to be with you here this morning. I'm so grateful.
Karibu.
Thank you so much.
Maybe we can give you a minute or two. A brief introduction of yourself and who you are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. My name is Joshua Okeo, and I'm a resident of Nairobi. I run a company called Pivot Assets, and Pivot Assets is trying to help achieve SDG 1, which is no poverty.
No poverty.
Yes. So this is one of the UN development goals, sustainable development goals of ending poverty. So how are we doing that? We are just focusing on old age poverty, and that is where retirement comes in.
Yes, yes.
If you look at the statistics, you find that people are getting poorer when they grow old because they are no longer working.
Yeah.
So it means they are no longer gainfully employed because of age and ability to do that. So people end up in destitute, and that's why the government is also trying to have some social safety nets in places like the slums and rural areas by having what's called cash transfers. What are they addressing? They are addressing old age poverty, so that those people do not end up in destitute. So that is where we are. So for us, we are focusing on the people who are employed, and we are having this conversation when they are still employed, so that they don't end up burdening the families or burdening the government with those social protection measures that the government is taking. So we do this by what's called consumer education. We train people, we create awareness on what they need to do, the steps they need to have before they retire, and also helping organizations that are in that space, like the pension funds, the fund managers, the administrators, and everybody that is within the pension space with those kind of solutions, like consulting and also training. I think that is. Yes.
Okay. And there's a question we were actually asking ourselves. When do I start planning for retirement? At what point do I start focusing in that direction?
Okay, so that's a very good question. For people who are working, immediately you receive your first paycheck, you should start thinking of retirement.
Oh.
Okay, look at, there's some story in the book of Numbers about the Levites. They were supposed to work from 25 up to 50 in the tent. Okay?
Yes.
Then after 50, they're supposed to leave. So they are, of course, work, you should work, because that is the purpose why God created us.
Yes.
But then you are supposed to do now light duties. So 25 to 50, the Levites were believed to be strong, so they could work. But after 50, they should stop.
Yes.
Working in the tent. So they were working outside the tent, given some light duties. I think you can read it in some verses or chapters in the book of Numbers. Yes, so specifically, immediately you are aware that you are going to receive your first paycheck, think about your retirement, because you will not remain the way you are. You are going to grow old.
Yeah.
And even your employer is going to say, let us have energetic people to replace you. Okay, so you should start thinking about it just before your first paycheck. Yes.
In fact, even before, so that when it comes, you already have a plan.
You already have that plan.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's talk about now this the practicability of what you're telling us in terms of once I receive the check. So how then should I undertake these plans in terms of the steps that we should take to start now planning for now my retirement?
Okay, so there are so many aspects to retirement. The major portion is a financial aspect, because at retirement you have reduced income or no income at all.
Yeah.
So that should be your first priority, saving for retirement. The other things that you need to look at is, include things like your social status. Right now you're called a producer, news anchor, etc. So those titles, you will not go with them in retirement. The only people who go with those titles in retirement are teachers, or maybe pastors, or maybe a politician is called Mheshimiwa. Yes, but this social status also fade. So you need to start planning on what are you going to be in retirement. There are also things like health. With age comes a number of diseases, and also reduced activity. So if you are somebody who is slim, you start gaining weight because you just sleep and no more activity for you. So you need to start thinking about that. You also need to start looking at what will I be doing in retirement. Okay? For example, you may find that there's something we learned in school called inertia. So that is where there's a hard stop, but you continue moving. If you are in a bus and there's an emergency brake, you continue moving. So it's like you want to continue working, but now there's no work for you. So what do you do? So you need to start finding what am I going to do? And those are, I think, the discussion that I think we can have today. Yes.
Wow, that's really powerful. And I'm also thinking of the fact that we all have different lifestyles, and sometimes it can be hard to really estimate how much money would be enough for me. So how do you factor in, how much retirement money would be enough for me to, to be well sustained throughout a particular season?
Okay, thank you, Beatrice. I think that is a very good question. How much is enough? So what is that's called retirement adequacy. Okay, so what we talk about here is called income replacement ratio. Okay, in short it's called IRR, income replacement ratio. So it is believed that the expenses or sustaining your lifestyle in retirement require less than when you are working because the expenses are a bit low. So, for example, you are not going back to, you're not transporting yourself to work. The taxes are also low. And maybe your dependents, you no longer have dependents, or those dependents are already independent. Okay? So the research that has been done is such that you need to aim at about between 60 to 75% of your last income. So if your income is 100,000 per month, you need to have an income replacement of about, or a minimum of 60,000. So that one will sustain you in retirement. So in your savings, you need to start calculating how much will be 60% of my income when I retire. Okay? And such that you put your savings in places that can generate that kind of the return you are looking at. And at the same time, you also need to have various sources of income to sustain, because you want to maintain your living standard. Okay? You don't want to start selling your car, selling your house, or changing diet. Or you don't want to have a complete overhaul of your life, but you want to maintain it. To maintain your current living standard, then you need to be aiming at 60%, at least 60%. Okay? So just know that if I'm earning 100,000, I need to be having a pension of 60,000 at least in my retirement. Yes.
Wow.
Let's talk about when we are now planning for this retirement. Some of the mistakes, the biggest mistakes that people make when they are planning for retirement.
Okay, so I think we can group them as attitude. So, for example, I think when we came here, you said that people want to start thinking about retirement when they are nearing.
Yes.
So that's one mistake. Because for sure there are three things that will happen. Number one, you will die. Number two, you will pay tax. Number three, you will retire. Okay, so these things are a must.
Mambo ni matatu.
Yes. Those things are a must. And I'm not sure which one will precede the other. But you will retire. So you need to start thinking about it early. The other thing that is a common mistake is starting to think that you can start a business all over in retirement if you are not started thinking about it when you are still having the energy to work. So you find that like in the village, and mostly people retire from Nairobi, then they start matatu business. Okay? So they've received the lump sum, and then they buy a matatu and put it on the road. And then it collapses sooner than you thought. Or when these guys, the crew, come back to you at the end of the day, instead of bringing for you the money, they're asking for more. I don't know, the police, the accidents, everything. And then it stresses you, and chances are you are preparing yourself for your grave. Okay? Because of these things you are doing which you are not well prepared. So if you want to do business, I think the best thing to do is to start some side hustles when you are still working, so that you learn the ropes. Okay? So you are familiar with the kind of business you are doing. Okay, the other thing is also the social element of it. And I want to give you a story. And it is coming from some of the trainings we have been conducting. So the stories I'm hearing. there is this gentleman who works in Nairobi and has got a large farm in the village. And this one is set up so that he can retire to. So he left the wife at home. So the wife is now the manager, and all the power around that investment is the wife. So weekends, the guy goes to the village to supervise things, but of course the wife is the one in charge. So finally when he retires, now I think now is the overall, but the workers there do not recognize him. They only recognize the wife. So when he gives instruction to these workers, they have to go and ask the wife first.
She's the boss.
She's the boss.
The boss we know.
So this guy realized that I'm not in charge here. So what do I do? And it looked like I will not change anything right now. He goes up and set a business in another town so that he works there and maintain coming over the weekend. The balance of power has actually changed. So you see now, you need to see how you are working with people and the relations that you have early enough so that there is nothing that is going to surprise you. Okay? And I think the other thing is also you also need to be organized, even when you are dead. Okay? And you need to start planning this. So I'm talking about managing your estate. So it means you need to be creating wills. Okay? And some of these pension schemes offer for nomination of your beneficiaries. So that we don't have chaos when things happen. And the sad thing is that what I've also seen with many cases is the ladies, they exclude the men in their life or their spouses. Like you find that most ladies, they nominate their mothers and sisters, and the men nominate their spouses. And it brings a lot of issues, and those are the things that I've seen in cases. That what I'm just talking about is that there should be a lot of, you need to be organized so that we don't have chaos whenever things happen. Yes.
Wow. And I think on that note, we can take a breather and absorb. Because that's quite something, especially the story about this guy going somewhere else to start a whole other business. I mean, that's just crazy. But anyway, this information is very valuable. So let's take a short break, and then when we come back, we still have a lot more. So please do stay tuned.
Hope TV presents News on the Go every day at 4 p.m. for all the breaking news and news making headlines. Hope TV, look and live.
Wake up every morning to an exciting moment of worship. With a powerful inspiration from God's word.
Psalm 84 verse 4 says, "Blessed are those that abide, that dwell in the house of God." The blessing is on those that dwell, those that abide. They have made the house of God their abode.
The kingdom of God is already with us in the present time we are in, but it will also be fully realized at the end of the age. But the kingdom has been prepared by God.
On Hope Devotion every Monday to Friday from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Only on Hope TV, where you look and live.
Panda tukupandishe on your entertainment this new year on GoTV bila kulipia extra. Kama uko on GoTV Lite, lipia GoTV Value. Utapata kufurahia GoTV Plus. Tayari on GoTV Value, then lipia GoTV Plus uenjoy GoTV Max. Kama wewe ni wa GoTV Plus, lipia GoTV Max ujinice na shows noma kabisa on GoTV Super. Furahia the best sports, international shows na local shows una like free. Download GoTV Stream. GoTV. Love it.
Thank you for watching Hope TV, the station where you look and live. For feedback regarding our programming, you can WhatsApp us through 0708 222 323, SMS 22232, website www.hopemediakenya.org, or scan the QR code below.
We are back, and definitely we are having a very important conversation. This conversation is not for the old people. It is for everyone, because as soon as you receive that first salary, you already must have been thinking about retirement and all that. So I believe this is information that is not just for the older generation, but also for the Gen Zs, wale ambao sasa ndio wanaingia kwenye hiyo market. Ni muhimu kwa kila mtu. I know they are not thinking of retirement, but it's important for us to sober up as soon as possible. And of course, we have Mr. Joshua with us this wonderful day. And I was just thinking of some of the things that are very much inevitable. Ni madeni, you know, madeni ziko tunakuwa nazo, and sometimes people actually take these debts even all the way towards retirement. So maybe Mr. Joshua, you can tell us, how can someone manage those debts when they are approaching retirement?
Okay, so let me start with a quote from some unknown person. Yeah, so retirement is wonderful if you have two essentials.
Okay.
Number one, much to live on, and then much to live for. Much to live on and much to live for. Now, much to live on means your assets are more than your liabilities. So, essentially, I believe that if there are good debts, you know, good debt is matched by an asset, not debts all over. And I think you should have, by the time you are retiring, you should have, you shed them off, so that you retire debt free and now live on your assets. Okay? One key thing, and I think it was there on the Business Daily, they were looking at people who are taking loans on this platform called Hustler Fund, something. Yeah. And even these mobile app loans. So there are people who are over 60 and still taking those loans. So you can see there is already a problem. Yeah. This already
bado unaenda kwa Hustler Fund.
Kwa Hustler Fund.
Where at see Hustler?
Yeah, so there is a problem, and people are looking for cash flow. So any form of place where they can get any form of cash flow, they will get it, be it even at those apps which are high interest rates. Yeah, so that is why we are here, so that this consumer education is there, so that you know how to plan your finances well. And not all debts are bad. There are some good debts. So, for example, if you have put debt or you borrowed and you put it in a performing asset or something that generates income, then it's a good debt. Because even if things happen, you can easily sell off that asset to cover. And at any given time, make sure that your cash flows are more, or your assets are more than your liabilities. Okay? So that you are, otherwise, if the liabilities are more, then you are, we say you're bankrupt. Yes.
Sticking to that point of cash flow and all, you find that at times we are more obsessed with having assets, which is good, as you mentioned. But then again, when I'm attaining that retirement age, the one thing is to have cash flow.
Yes.
So how do I balance?
Okay, so in retirement, you need to have assets that generate cash flow. And some people are, we say, asset rich. And which kind of asset? So they have land all over.
Yes.
Okay? And they have, they're not able to buy food because you can't sell the land to buy food.
Yes.
Or emergencies like sickness, you are not able to sort that. But yet you are very rich in land. So most of the discussion we normally have is to have assets that generate cash flows. So, for example, investment in things like bonds, which give periodic coupons or interests, and you are investing in things which are near cash. Okay? Like fixed deposit, treasury bills, and bonds, which are very safe. Okay? However, I think my advice, especially to people who are working and then have got some pension plan, is that once they have attained the age of retirement, they could buy either of these two products. Number one is called income drawdown, and the other one is also called an annuity. So an annuity is provided by insurance companies. So you have a contract then that says that you'll be receiving this amount of money for this number of years, either monthly, quarterly, or semi-annual. So that then gives you the cash that you needed. It's like you are earning a salary. It's the same with income drawdown, and income drawdown is also similar to annuities, but this one is mostly managed by fund managers and pension administrators, and even some insurance companies also do that. So this one, they are actually investing, and you can see the investment they have invested in, and you can live off the income that they declare after every so often. And you can agree with them that I want this amount of money every month, factoring in what we call the IRR, the income replacement ratio. So that gives you liquidity because you have periodic income that you receive in your account every month. Yes, so those are the things I would then advocate for. But if you have then other investment outside these two, then you could invest in things that give you cash flow, like the ones we just talked about. Or even be running a business that gives you some cash flow that you need. Yes.
And how do you also ensure that you don't outlive your savings? Labda ulikuwa hujapiga mahesabu vizuri. And now you are still existing, you know.
Yes, so what you are talking about is called longevity. And let me just give you a story. Back then, we used to have what is called DB, defined benefit. Mostly governments and some organizations would be sending you some pension after you have retired. So they expected you to die sooner. But now people are living longer.
People are not dying.
People are not dying.
They are 90
Wow.
and still going.
Yeah, so you see now it's a burden to
The government.
and the organizations. So they brought in this what's called defined contribution. So it means you contribute and they also match it. And then if you outlive it, it is your own problem. Okay? If you have consumed everything that you have contributed, it's your own problem. It's no longer there. So that's a way of in which they were de-risking. Now what you're asking is how do you then ensure that you outlive your savings? Oh, your savings outlive you.
Yeah, your savings outlive.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
The one thing you can do is apart from the pensions that you contribute, the savings that you contribute monthly, you can increase that. Okay, by having what is called additional voluntary contribution. And these ones are also tax deductible. The government has given us tax incentives to do that. The other thing is also to increase your asset base. Okay? Okay, so what I'm asking you to do is to forego consumption right now so that you have better outcomes later, and also invest in things which then generate higher income so that base is more so that you can live on it. Okay? Yes. But living long is not a bad thing. But you just need assets to live on when you have left when you are you've left work. Yes. Yeah.
So it's very important when you are working to ensure you are
Thinking
ahead and buying those assets.
Yes, one thing I wanted to talk about also is, retirements are two types. There's the one that you stop working because of your age.
Yeah.
But then there's another sad one. You still have time, but due to ill health, you are not able to work. So that is also something you need to think about. Because you could be 30 here, but you're no longer fit for work. So you have to retire and then depend on other people. So you also need to think about that anything can happen. Okay.
Yeah.
But we thank God. God will give us the grace to live.
Let's go now. Camping on that matters health. And now I'm nearing retirement and everything. How then do I the healthcare costs? How do I factor that in now as I prepare for retirement?
Okay, so number one, I think focus more on preventive measures. So be fit.
Yeah.
Okay. Be fit, and you see now you cannot be unfit and hope that when you reach retirement you will start running around. It's something you start when you are still young, and then it becomes a routine. Okay, because I think when you are fit, I think you also get immunity to some of these kind of diseases. The other one is that the healthcare will be a bigger factor, and even insurance companies are not taking insurance for old people. So you need to be careful. However, there are also these regulations that came in and or proposals that are there on what is called post-retirement medical covers. And most of the schemes that we work with have set up those kind of covers. It means as you are contributing towards your pension, you are also contributing towards your medical cover post-retirement, so that it covers your health care needs in your old age, in your sunset age. So you need to think about it. You see, now when you are employed, your employer has given you medical cover. And that medical cover will be withdrawn when you retire. Or even when you leave employment, whichever way, it will be taken. So you need to start thinking about, okay, once I leave employment, how will I go to the hospital? How will I seek medical? Because they can be really expensive, and a lot of diseases also come in You know, you start to stand, but then your bones make noise and and many other things. So you need to start thinking about how you are going to cover that.
Yes. Wow. And you know, there's something we touched on, Gigi, earlier on, and we were thinking of other things aside from the financial bit of it, because yes, there's the financial bit of it, making sure you've saved up enough other streams of income, but then there's the psychological, there's the mental bit of it, of preparing for that retirement. So how do we also ensure that there's that smooth adjustment, and what other things do we need to put into consideration as well?
Okay, so just thinking about it with your first paycheck is the first step. And also from research, many people settle down after between 5 to 15 years. Imagine you have retired, but you still have not internalized that you have retired. So you end up asking your employer, can I put my desk here? I'll be coming, don't pay me, so that, you know, because you are not prepared. Psychologically, you are not prepared. Or that letter, the letter for your last day, then depresses you. Okay? So you employers need to prepare their staff psychologically that this is the end date for you at our place. And you also need to start thinking about it. And I also said, start thinking of what you need to do in your retirement. And it is not something that, okay, I want to be a pastor after retirement. Or I want to be
other calling. So
other calling.
Now,
If you have that calling, start it now. Okay? So you look at the hobbies you have. And because you need community, start also connecting with communities. Join things like clubs, maybe golf, or to service club like Rotary, or things that then connects you to the community and also keep you busy. You don't want to invent things when you are retired, but you start them earlier. And it's a discussion then that is encouraged by, should be encouraged by your HR department, that you have these discussions each and every often. So you could have a day of just thinking about retirement and the consequences, so that it does not come as a surprise. Yes.
Wow.
Those are times we feel, I've just hit retirement age, just like that, you know. So it becomes or comes as a shocker to you, and then so there's a lot of panicking. So even at that point, you're not even thinking straight, because you're like, now what will happen?
And you'll also make rash decisions. Yes.
Even
with your money. Yes.
Yeah.
You are given a lump sum, then you're thinking, hey, what do I do?
Yeah.
You didn't have any plan with it. And that is where you mess it. And it depresses you. And it opens your grave very early.
Let's assume, for assumption's sake, that someone is watching us today and they had not planned, unfortunately. They have received this lump sum. What would be your advice to them?
Okay, so so this is how this how it works. You can access a third as a lump sum. So let's say you have your Provident Fund would give you the whole thing. So let's say you've saved 1 million. So for Provident Fund, they would just give you, okay, just go with 1 million. Then you decide what you want to do with it. But I think the regulations, especially for NSSF 2013 Act, then it converted even the NSSF into a pension. So it means you don't get lump sum. But there is that 1/3 that you can get as a lump sum.
Yes.
Okay. You can gamble with that. But the other one, you can just purchase an annuity or an income drawdown. Okay, that's my advice. Because if you had not planned if you had not planned, it means you are going to be trying to do what's called trial and error. Trial and error with your money, and then sometimes, most cases, it doesn't end well. So the research is such that people given who have gone with their money takes, like, it doesn't last more than 3 years. Okay, but I think that is so generous. That thing does not last 3 months.
No.
You're even 1 month.
Yeah.
So, for example, if I gave you even 10 million and no plans with it,
Yeah.
I'm very sure you'll be wishing that it was 20 million. Because all of a sudden that money is gone. So you need to have a lot of planning. And I think if you are talking about, if the income is your issue, then buy an income drawdown or an annuity, because you'll be getting periodic income, which then you can survive on. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So many insights. And I feel like this conversation is one that we would want to listen and listen and listen more. But we're about to wrap up the show. And I think I just want to give you a chance to say that one last thing, or maybe what would be your parting shot from your notes as well. What maybe you could have left out and you feel is also important. We have about a minute.
Okay, so the only person who will take care of the older person you will be is your younger person, or the younger person you are now.
Oh, not the children. Okay.
Is the younger person you are now.
Wow.
Okay, nobody's going to take care of you. You will take care of yourself. So just think of how you want to take care of the older person you will be. People are no longer having insurance in children. Because those days people would give birth to many people so that they take care of them. But nowadays,
the retirement plan, my children.
That is no longer working. So it is actually you who will take care of yourself. So think about this, that in mind. Have that in mind. That you need to save enough so that you live on it. You need to take care of your social networks, or what they call social capital. You also need to also think about your health, okay? And start psychologically preparing that one day you will not be young forever. You will be old, and when you are old, maybe you still have energy to work, but the employers are thinking that there are more energetic people to work, so there is no work. There is no health care cover. There is even, you are also lonely. So think about it and start planning for all those right now. Yes.
Wow.
Joshua, thank you so much. Lots of wisdom.
So much.
Learned a lot. The younger me should take care of the older me.
That I'll be.
That will become. That's profound. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So how I know this one, I can guarantee that so many people will want to reach out to you
for help.
Because we need help. So how can we get in touch with you?
So our company runs social media pages on LinkedIn. It's called Pivot Assets KE. On Facebook, it is also Pivot Assets KE. We are also on Instagram. But our office number is 0740 021 377.
Okay.
Yes.
Maybe you can say it
again
another time.
0740 021 377. That's our office number. Yes.
All right. And I do hope that you've been able to get that. This was a sobering conversation for sure. And you know, this morning we were talking about wisdom and how important it is to gain wisdom, because that helps you to live a life of prosperity, and everything else flows from that place of godly wisdom. So I believe that even as we have shared this was just more like a push to remind us that, hey, lazima tuchangamke. If you have not begun to think about retirement at whatever age you are, maybe you did not think of it when you got your first paycheck, but it's never too late. You can begin now, begin to plan ahead, and let the younger you prepare for the older you that you will become.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that. And thank you for tuning in as well for the
Yes.
show. I know you will, and you have now been transformed, challenged, and you will become a better you, so that in the next few years, you look back and you say, yes, I'm glad I followed that lesson.
Absolutely.
Thank you so very much. God willing, we'll do this again tomorrow. Being a Tuesday, it's one day at a time, and we are looking forward as well to having you on board. My name is George Gishuru. Kwaheri for now.
And my name is Beatrice Nudi. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.